The uncomfortable truth no one wants to say out loud. Kindness alone is invisible. Women don't fall for the guy who hands them the world on a silver platter, who memorizes their coffee order like it's a sacred text, who bends over backward to prove he's different from other men. Those guys finish last not because they're bad people, but because they're forgettable. Attraction doesn't work like a vending machine where you insert nice coins and receive lust in return. It's darker than that, more primal. What actually makes her obsess isn't what you give, it's what you withhold. Think about the men women chase. Not the ones who text good morning every day without fail, but the ones who leave her wondering, why hasn't he replied? Not the guys who shower her with compliments, but the ones who let silence linger just long enough to make her skin itch. This isn't about playing games, it's about understanding the female mind on a biological level. Women are drawn to emotional contrast, the push and pull between warmth and distance. When you're predictable, you're safe, and safe is boring. But when you disrupt her expectations, when you're the guy who walks away mid-conversation because you've got shit to do, who doesn't flinch when she tests you, who treats his attention like a privilege, not a handout, that's when you bury yourself in her thoughts. Most men fail here. They confuse devotion with weakness. They think love is earned through suffering, through proving they'll wait forever. But that's not how obsession is built. Obsession is born in the moments she can't have, when she realizes your world doesn't revolve around her, when she sees you're capable of flipping the script without explanation. It's the guy who kisses her like he means it, then ghosts for 3 days to focus on his grind. The one who laughs at her tantrums instead of apologizing for them. The one who doesn't need her but lets her need him. This isn't manipulation. It's masculine polarity, the unshakable understanding that your value isn't negotiable. Women don't crave servants. They crave leaders. And leadership isn't about control, it's about composure. When you stop begging for her attention and start commanding it simply by existing as a man who's got better things to do, that's when the dynamic shifts. She call it mystery, but what she really feels is respect. And respect is the foundation of every obsession that lasts. Obsession isn't created by being the best, it's created by being the only. The only man who doesn't follow her script. The only one who refuses to beg for scraps of her attention. The only guy who understands that real power isn't in chasing, but in being the prize she has to work for. And here's how you engineer that shift. First, kill the addiction to her validation. Most men are emotional junkies. They need that next hit of her approval like it's oxygen. A text back, dopamine hit. A smile across the room, they're hooked. But the moment she pulls away, they panic. Double texts, apologies, negotiating their own worth like a street vendor haggling over rotten fruit. That's the death of attraction. Women can smell neediness like blood in the water. What she can't smell, a man who's indifferent? Not because he's cold, but because he's full. He's got a life, a mission, a spine, things that matter more than her mood swings. Here's the secret. Her obsession starts the moment you stop feeding it. When you don't text first, when you leave her on read, when you're the one who ends the conversation. It's not about being an asshole, it's about showing her your attention isn't free. You're not ignoring her. You're demonstrating that you choose when to engage, and that choice, that's what flips the switch in her brain. Suddenly, she's not the prize you are, but the real magic happens in the silence. When you don't explain yourself, when you don't justify your absence. Most men crumble here. They break the silence with some weak excuse, some pathetic attempt to prove they're still good guys. Big mistake. The silence is where her imagination runs wild. It's where she starts questioning, is he with someone else? Did I push him away? That uncertainty? That's the seed of obsession. Because women don't chase certainty, they chase the thrill of the unknown. The final piece? Let her fail your tests. She tests you ghosting, flirting with other guys, pretending she doesn't care. Most men fail these tests by groveling. The man who passes, the one who doesn't react, who stays calm, who lets her walk away because he knows his worth isn't tied to her presence. That's the guy she can't forget. Not because he played her, but because he showed her something rare, a man who doesn't break. The irony? Women claim they want consistency, but what they crave is tension. Not the toxic kind, but the electric charge that comes from never being quite sure where they stand with you. Most men are human metronomes, reliable, steady, boring. They text back immediately. They always agree. They mold themselves into whatever they think she wants. And that's exactly why she loses interest. Predictability is the death of desire. True unpredictability isn't about being random or chaotic. It's about being so rooted in your own purpose that she can't pin you down. One day you're deeply present, listening like she's the only woman in the world. The next, you're gone, not to play games, but because you're building something bigger than her fleeting attention. This creates cognitive dissonance in her mind. He's interested, but not obsessed. That gap between what she expects and what you deliver is where real attraction lives. The key is polarity, the push and pull between connection and mystery. You share something real, then pull back before she's ready. You show intensity, then disappear into your work. You're warm but never needy, available but never on demand. This isn't about manipulation. It's about maintaining your own emotional sovereignty. When she realizes your attention isn't guaranteed, she starts working for it. Not because you told her to, but because you've shown her you're a man who can't be taken for granted. Most men make the mistake of thinking vulnerability means spilling their emotions, like a drunk confessing his sins at last call. Real masculine unpredictability is different. It's showing depth on your terms, revealing just enough to intrigue her, then closing the door again. Maybe you drop one honest insight about your past, then change the subject when she probes for more. That restraint drives her crazy in the best way possible. She starts chasing those moments of connection, trying to solve the puzzle of who you really are. The ultimate power move? Being unpredictable with your time? Not in a flaky way, but in a way that shows your life doesn't revolve around her schedule. You might disappear for 3 days to handle business, then reappear with zero apology or explanation. That absence creates space for her to wonder, to miss you, to imagine what you're doing. And when a woman's imagination gets involved, that's when real obsession begins. Because the stories she tells herself about you will always be more compelling than anything you could say directly. The moment you stop chasing is the moment the game changes. Most men think persistence wins her heart, but that's a lie sold by rom-coms and desperate guys. The truth? Her interest peaks when you demonstrate you don't need it. This isn't about playing hard to get, it's about being hard to forget. When you suddenly go quiet, when you stop being the one who always initiates, when you break the pattern she's come to expect from every other guy, that's when her instincts kick in. She tells herself she's just curious at first, but that curiosity is the gateway drug to obsession. Silence is your most powerful weapon. Not the petulant silence of a man who's hurt, but the calm, unbothered silence of a man who's focused on his mission. When you don't respond immediately to her texts, when you leave conversations unfinished, when you're the one who walks away first, you create an emotional vacuum. Nature abhors a vacuum, and so does the female mind. She rushes to fill that space with her thoughts, her imagination, her anxiety. Suddenly, you're not just another guy in her phone, you're the one who makes her check her notifications 3 times in a row, The magic happens in the space between her expectations and your actions. She expects you to chase after an argument. You don't. She expects you to beg for another chance. You disappear instead. She expects you to react when she posts attention-seeking photos. You act like you didn't even see them. This isn't about punishing her. It's about showing her through actions, not words, that you operate by a different set of rules. And rules, when consistently enforced, command respect. Most men sabotage themselves by explaining their silence. They break character with some weak justification like, "Sorry, I've been busy," instantly revealing their hand. The man who understands the game says nothing at all. He lets his absence speak for itself. When he finally does reappear, it's with the same calm energy as before. No apologies, no overcompensation. Just the quiet confidence of a man who knows his worth isn't determined by her reactions. That unshakable frame is what burns you into her memory long after other guys have blurred together in her mind. The final piece isn't about her at all. It's about who you become when you stop needing her validation. Most men spend their lives chasing the illusion that if they just give enough, sacrifice enough, prove themselves enough, they'll finally be worthy of love. That's the great lie. Obsession isn't created by what you do for her, it's born from what you refuse to do.